Hey, welcome back, sports fans, coaches, athletes, everybody here. Coach Michael Fields coming at you today. We're continuing the series this week on building a program. This is from youth all the way up to high school. If you're fortunate enough to be in a town where there's a local small college, maybe a D3, an NAIA, possibly even you could build that relationship up that far. If you've got some high school programs, it potentially could be recruiting grounds. But really focusing on youth to middle school to high school, kind of adapting the game of football right now. I've done this across other sports with basketball, with softball. It's done with baseball. I've been involved with that a little bit as well. So, going to focus on football this week, and today in this episode, what we're going to talk about is what I call scaling plays and scaling calls. Okay, so. The program I'm in currently, we are a wing tee. Specifically, we're a gun tee. We're a spread gun tee, shotgun wing tee type of team. This episode or this play up here, we do go under center still, more of a traditional single wing look. And so I'm just going to kind of talk about how you can scale that from what we run at the high school down to how we ran it a couple years ago when I was in my last year with youth football, and we actually transitioned that last year. Was the first year with the high school head coach running this system, and we also transitioned our youth program over to what USA Football refers to as the rookie tackle program. And so we had to scale it from an 11-man, wing tee, down to an 8-man, full tackle, modified rules for the young guys. This was 5th and 6th graders. How could we modify it to where we can incorporate the language, the plays, the terminology for the young kids, so when they get to middle school and they run, basically the same offense as the high school, again, scaled to middle school level, and then, up to the high school. So we're building a program, so we're constantly feeding our high school, which is where I coach now, with good athletes that know the system, know the plays, or at least some basic stuff. So this is kind of a look here. This is what we call our pro formation. So pro is just our formation to let the offensive guys know that we're putting the tight end in our wing to the right. Pro means right, okay? And so that's just our formation, okay? Our call here, we number our guys. So this is our 1, our quarterback. He's our 1. This guy's our 2, this guy's our 3, this guy's our 4, and he's our X, and then at the high school level, we'll label our tight end, he's our Y. So it's pretty standard in most offensive systems to have numbers and or letters on your backs, okay? So this is pro 38, we're a number team, 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So, just evens are to the right, odds are to the left, okay? So this is what we would call, it's not our actual play name, but I would call this Pro 38 buck sweep, right? Because we're wing T. So at the high school level, even middle school level, if we're running this, we're gonna block down depending on the defense. We're gonna get out to outside backer, some combination with our wing and tight end. We're gonna pull and kick here. We're gonna pull and wrap here. And then our 2 is going to run a dive or a trap look. And then our 3 is going to come across, quarterback's going to come out, hand him the ball. We've got your standard 38 buck sweep, right? Wing T guys, you see this. I've done this in other systems. When I was in Indiana at a middle school, we took the power toss series, I formation power toss series, and there are formation calls which were similar to this. Except for we were an I, we still had a wing or an H back, we called him. Z, some guys will call him. We took that, and our formations were the 4 directions on a map. We had north, east, south, and west. And, north and south were opposite, east and west were opposites. And we did the same thing. We used those same formations at the middle school and 7th and 8th graders, same formations in 5th and 6th grade. We attempted at 3rd and 4th grade, but they were in modified rules again there. So they had to have a certain number of guys, in the box or not in the box. So we couldn't quite do it 100%, but we, again, scaled it down to meet that. So now this is rookie tackle, right? So if you look, Pro is the same formation, rookie tackle. We played an 8-man rule. This is USA football. We just used their rule book, put in our playbook, right? So it's an 8-person. So we have 3 down linemen, although they're technically only in a 2-point stance in rookie tackle. Pro, we put the wing here still, 38, 36, because we don't really have a tight end to create that 8 hole. We have a 6 hole instead. We still called this guy our 4. He was our 2, our 1, and our 3 back. 3's always to the right, 4's always, or I'm sorry, 3's are always on the left of our formation, and our 4's are on the right. When we get to our spread look, it's a little different at the high school. And this is still, we basically just called him receiver or split end, you know. And what we would do is we would run Pro 36. There's no pulling guards because we're in a, modified rules. No need to really pull because there's not really anybody to kick. They had to line up kind of straight up, man on man almost. But 36 still gave us the formation, back that gets the ball, and direction they're running to that hole. So Pro 36 was kind of our way to get them used to what they'll get to in middle school and high school with our Pro 38 bucks. So this is just scaling down from 11-man high school football, wing tee, down to rookie tackle, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, depending on your community and what the youth league may have. Now, middle school would run this. Middle school would run this. We would start to pull guards. We didn't always have 2 guards that were great at pulling at the middle school, and I did coach in the middle school here, kind of transition youth middle school, and I had experience in it and helped install this offense at the middle school level. That same first year the high school coach was implementing it at the high school level. We would just pull 1 guard and usually just kick with this guy. So we didn't have the wrap guard, we just have the kick guard. And then a lot of times then we would even lead with this back instead of faking the dive, So we'd have kind of a, maybe give him a lead call called Pro 38 lead buck. He leads instead of this guy pulling and wrapping. You lose the fake, but again, we're teaching the philosophy, we're teaching that. That's a big thing I've always tried to do as a youth middle school coach is teach what I call football philosophy. If I'm coaching basketball philosophy. If it's baseball, softball, teaching that philosophy to kind of build the IQ, the sport IQ of players. So here's the same idea of, football philosophy here. When we call a play, right, in our calls, we're going formation, Pro, 38, who gets the ball, where they go, buck, what the play is. So then as we get older and we start putting tags in, we go Pro 38 rocket motion buck, or buck rocket motion. All we're doing is adding a tag to motion this guy to set up different plays. So if we build this, what I like to call football philosophy, all we're doing is just kind of formation, direction, who gets the ball, what the play is called. So eventually at the high school level, we're running buck. They know what it is, and based off of formation, they know which direction it is. So we just go Pro buck. They know what it is. We'll still call it 38 buck though, just so that they keep that. There is no confusion, right? Because high school players still can forget at times, especially your young guys, freshmen and sophomores. Okay. Now we're going to get into defense here in a second. All right, so here we are with a defensive front, right? Okay, so I grew up, in a system when I first started coaching as a D coordinator, defensive assistant coach at the middle school level. We ran a slant 50, which is a 3-4 defense. So this was our slant 50, which is a 3-4 defense. Okay. So I'll kind of show you some different calls. On the defensive side, it's more about simplifying the calls to, in middle school level. So I'll kind of show high school, middle school up here and how we would run it, and then kind of a modified version again for that youth or rookie tackle idea to kind of use the same philosophies with a different approach, okay? Because you can't really run, 4-3, 3-4 when you're on the 8-man rookie tackle. But for this slant 50, 3-4, in the high school and a little bit at the middle school level, we've got our tackle, nose tackle. We called them Sam and Edge. They're outside linebackers. This was more of your rush guy, and your Sam is more of your strong guy. He's more of a run support kind of guy. These two guys also have coverage responsibility. They'll drop into coverage depending on our call, right? And our base, we would show a shell cover 2 here with our free and our strong, but we typically would drop to cover 3. He had skiff over here, seam curl flat, so skiff and skiff responsibility here, deep third, deep third, deep third to the middle with these guys, okay? Now, how I modified this when I ran this at the middle school level is this guy, he did not skiff. Most teams weren't going to hit us on the back side in the flat, right? And I also taught my corner, if nobody's going, don't drop, don't drop to deep 12, stay at about 6, 5. That way he can kind of help if they, roll the back out or put a tight end drag or something across. But mostly at middle school, you're mostly cover and run. So I kept him in run support or rush, right? So at the high school level, we would have a stay call for this guy. Middle school, we just were always in that stay call. That was our base, is he stayed there. We gave him a tag if we needed him to drop. If we knew we were facing a heavy team, we'd say, hey, you've got skiff. And then he knew C pass, drop to his seam curl flat, right? So it was drop, then play up, which is kind of weird. So again, we just taught him drop to 5 or 6 to play more curl to flat, because again, you're not going to get a lot of deep, crossing routes at a middle school 7th and 8th grade level. Okay, and then of course these guys had kind of middle curl, deep thirds. So a lot of times, even in a passing situation, we'd call what I call crash. We just blitz this corner on the backside, because most of your routes, you got a 2 or 3 man route over here. Okay, so again, just scaling that from the high school level where he's always skiff, He did play skiff, but he's strong side, so more than anything, these two guys just kind of covered this area of the field if we were in that zone kind of base cover 3 defense. We had tags for cover 2, cover 1, and man, of course. And man, of course, he locks on, he locks on, he locks on, he locks on. They've got back out, and then they're covering zone in the middle with our Will and our Mike, okay? Now, taking the same principles down to that youth level. So this is high school and middle school. This is youth level, okay? We're just going to name these guys something similar so they get used to a Mike linebacker being on the strong side. Single safety, because we only have 8 guys on the field, so we're just going to call him a safety. We're not going to give him a strong or a free. We're not going to call him a rover or whatever. We're just going to call him safety. Corners, Will, Mike. We're going to call him a nose. We're going to call him a tackle. We're going to call him an end in this case, just so they can get used to flipping. He'll flip strong. He'll go weak. And, your athleticism maybe is the same, but we just want to get him in that idea, because here we're going to be flipping our outside backer. So, again, just these calls, terminology, keeping the same principles of a defense from the high school to the middle school to the youth level. So again, we can scale down our plays, scale down our calls, so that our young athletes are learning in the same system from, 3rd, 4th grade maybe, definitely 5th, 6th grade, 7th, 8th grade at the middle school, and then again at the high school program. We just want to scale things so that they're learning the same language, that terminology, okay? Appreciate you guys tuning in today. Again, Coach Michael Fields. Instagram, it's Coach Michael Fields. Twitter, a little different. I use that for some of my professional work as a higher education instructor. That's Michael K. Fields. And then you can email me, which I love, to get emails. We can talk one-on-one. Is Coach Michael Fields at gmail.com. Again, email me, coachmichaelfields@gmail.com. Subscribe if you want to. I'd love to, build the channel, maybe do some live events. I'm far away from that, but let's build the channel, share it. Subscribe it, follow me on social media. Let's just talk football, let's talk sports, let's have fun, and give our youth programs, our middle school and high school, a good future. Thank you.